There is a moment in midlife when the body begins to whisper, not loudly, not dramatically, but persistently. Recovery takes longer, energy feels thinner, focus blurs at the edges. You blame stress, you blame sleep, you blame age. But beneath all of it, something measurable is changing. Inside every one of your cells lives a molecule that determines how well you generate energy, repair damage, and resist decline. Its name is NAD+, Nicotinamide Adenine Dinucleotide. It sounds technical, clinical, distant. It is anything but. NAD+ is essential for life. Without it, your cells cannot convert nutrients into ATP. Without ATP, there is no movement, no thought, no repair. But NAD+ is more than fuel. It is a regulator. It activates sirtuins, a family of proteins often called longevity guardians. Sirtuins repair broken DNA. They stabilize the epigenome. They quiet inflammatory genes. They maintain cellular identity. They preserve information. Aging, at its core, is not just wear and tear, it is information loss. Your DNA is the same at 20 as it is at 70. The code does not change dramatically. What changes is which genes are turned on and off. The epigenome, the software layered on top of your DNA, begins to drift. Cells forget their roles. Inflammation increases. Mitochondria falter. NAD+ fuels the very systems that prevent that drift. And after 50, NAD+ begins to decline sharply. Studies in both animals and humans show that NAD+ levels can drop by as much as 50% with age. Half the fuel, half the repair capacity. The consequences are subtle at first. Mitochondria become less efficient. Energy production declines. Oxidative stress rises. DNA repair slows. Then those subtle shifts compound. Muscle mass decreases. Insulin sensitivity worsens. Inflammation becomes chronic. We often think aging is inevitable. But what if much of aging is driven by the gradual failure of repair? When NAD+ drops, sirtuins lose power. When sirtuins lose power, DNA damage accumulates. When damage accumulates, cells function less precisely. This is not cosmetic aging. This is systemic vulnerability. But here is the critical truth. NAD+ does not decline solely because of time. It declines because of environment, because of behavior, because of the signals you send your body every day. Your cells evolved under conditions of movement, scarcity, temperature shifts, and darkness at night. Those conditions activated survival pathways. Modern life suppresses many of them. Constant food availability keeps insulin high. Sedentary hours reduce metabolic demand. Artificial light disrupts circadian rhythm. Chronic stress elevates cortisol. In that environment, NAD+ production and recycling slow. The body adapts downward. The collapse is not immediate. It is gradual, like a dimmer switch turning down year by year. After 50, that dimmer accelerates, unless you intervene. Because NAD+ is responsive, it rises in response to metabolic challenge. It increases when energy demand spikes. It regenerates when cells are forced to adapt. Your biology is not passive, it is negotiable, and longevity is the outcome of that negotiation. Aging is often framed as destiny. But in laboratory after laboratory, researchers have observed something profound. When metabolic stress is introduced intelligently, aging markers shift. NAD+ levels rise. Mitochondrial function improves. DNA repair increases. Exercise is one of the most powerful activators of NAD+-dependent pathways. When you lift resistance, ATP is consumed rapidly. Energy levels drop inside the muscle cell. AMPK, the metabolic master switch, activates. AMPK signals the cell to conserve energy and create more mitochondria. More mitochondria mean greater energy capacity. Increased mitochondrial biogenesis requires NAD+. The body responds by enhancing NAD+ recycling. At the same time, sirtuins become active. They repair DNA, they reduce inflammation, they maintain epigenetic stability. Strength training is not cosmetic, it is molecular instruction. It tells your cells that survival still requires effort. Endurance training operates differently, but converges on the same pathways. Sustained aerobic effort enhances mitochondrial density. It improves vascular function. It increases insulin sensitivity. Metabolic flexibility returns. When metabolic flexibility improves, glucose and fat are burned efficiently. Chronic hyperinsulinemia decreases. And high insulin is a silent accelerant of aging. Constant feeding suppresses autophagy. Autophagy is cellular housekeeping. It removes damaged proteins. It dismantles dysfunctional mitochondria. It prevents cellular clutter. Fasting reactivates it. When you fast for 14 to 16 hours, insulin drops. AMPK rises. mTOR, the growth pathway, quiets temporarily. Repair pathways take priority. NAD+ plays a central role in this shift. In low-energy states, cells rely more heavily on NAD+ dependent enzymes. Repair accelerates. This does not mean starvation, it means rhythm, feeding followed by fasting, growth followed by repair. Balance is longevity. Temperature stress introduces another lever. Cold exposure elevates norepinephrine dramatically. Metabolic rate increases. Brown fat activates, mitochondria adapt, heat exposure increases heat shock proteins, molecular chaperones that stabilize damaged proteins. Both are hormetic stressors. Hormesis means small doses of stress strengthen the organism. No stress weakens it. Chronic overwhelming stress damages it. The art lies in dosage. After 50, the body still responds. This is critical. Studies in older adults show that mitochondrial function can improve significantly with consistent training. NAD+ levels can be influenced by lifestyle. Decline is not fixed, but discipline becomes non-negotiable. You cannot out-supplement a sedentary life. You cannot offset chronic sleep deprivation with occasional exercise. The system is integrated. Light governs circadian rhythm. Morning sunlight triggers cortisol appropriately. It anchors your internal clock. Evening darkness allows melatonin to rise. Melatonin protects mitochondria from oxidative stress. It supports NAD+ dependent repair pathways, disrupts circadian rhythm long enough, and inflammation increases. Metabolic dysfunction follows. Sleep is when reconstruction happens. During deep sleep, growth hormone pulses. Protein synthesis increases. The brain clears metabolic waste. Chronic sleep restriction reduces insulin sensitivity within days. It increases hunger hormones. It suppresses repair. After 50, sleep becomes a pillar. Because the repair window narrows, you cannot afford to waste it. NAD+ drops when repair systems are underutilized or overwhelmed. It stabilizes when the body cycles properly between effort and recovery. This is not about biohacking. It is about biological alignment. Alignment between your modern life and your ancient cellular programming. And when alignment improves, lifespan potential expands. The decline of NAD+ after 50 is not dramatic enough to alarm you. That is what makes it dangerous. You do not wake up one morning feeling your sirtuins shutting down. You simply feel slightly less resilient. Resilience is the true currency of aging. It is the capacity to absorb stress and return to baseline. At 25, you recover from a poor night of sleep quickly. At 55, the same night lingers. That difference is not weakness. It is reduced biological reserve. NAD+ influences that reserve. It fuels DNA repair enzymes like PARPs. It activates sirtuins that maintain genomic stability. It supports mitochondrial efficiency. When NAD+ is abundant, cells repair faster. When it is scarce, small errors accumulate. Accumulation becomes dysfunction. Dysfunction becomes disease, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, neurodegeneration. These are not isolated events. They are consequences of systemic repair failure. Inflammation increases when damaged cells are not cleared efficiently. Mitochondrial dysfunction contributes to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance elevates glucose. High glucose damages blood vessels. The cascade begins with subtle metabolic imbalance. After 50, muscle mass becomes central. Muscle is the largest reservoir of glucose disposal. More muscle means better insulin sensitivity. Better insulin sensitivity reduces metabolic strain. Reduced strain supports NAD+ preservation. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, is not cosmetic. It predicts mortality. Strength correlates with survival more strongly than many traditional risk markers. Because strength reflects mitochondrial health, it reflects systemic integrity. Resistance training reverses sarcopenia. Even individuals in their 70s and 80s can gain muscle. Satellite cells activate. Protein synthesis increases. Mitochondria replicate. The body responds to demand regardless of age. Demand is the key word. When you demand nothing, the body adapts downward. When you demand effort, it adapts upward. Psychological stress complicates the picture. Chronic cortisol elevation impairs sleep, elevates blood sugar, suppresses immune function, increases inflammation. Short bursts of stress, exercise, cold exposure, focus, challenge, strengthen the system. Unrelenting stress weakens it. Stress management is not softness, it is strategic recovery. Breath control reduces sympathetic overdrive. Meditation alters neural stress circuits. Time in nature reduces inflammatory markers. All of these influence mitochondrial function indirectly, and mitochondria depend on NAD+. You are not treating a molecule in isolation. You are influencing a network. Aging accelerates when networks fragment. It slows when systems synchronize. Movement, nutrition, sleep, light, purpose. When these align, repair strengthens. After 50, the margin narrows. But the opportunity remains. Biological age is not identical to chronological age. Epigenetic clocks measure patterns of DNA methylation. Lifestyle interventions can shift these patterns. Exercise and caloric moderation have been associated with favorable shifts in biological markers. You are not rewriting your DNA, you are preserving its expression, and NAD+ is a central mediator of that preservation. When you maintain mitochondrial demand, regulate insulin, protect sleep, and embrace controlled stress, you are not chasing youth, you are extending function. Function is what determines whether years are vibrant or limited. NAD+ dropping after 50 means your repair systems require more intentional activation. It means you cannot drift. Drift accelerates decline, intention slows it. Longevity is not about defeating death, it is about delaying dysfunction. It is about preserving clarity at 80, strength at 85, independence at 90. NAD+, dropping after 50 is not a verdict. It is a warning, a reminder that passive living accelerates biological silence, but your body remains responsive. Mitochondria can multiply, muscle can grow, insulin sensitivity can improve, inflammation can decrease, sirtuins can reawaken. The body listens to demand. When you rise early and step into natural light, circadian rhythm stabilizes, hormones align, repair windows open predictably. When you train with intensity, energy demand spikes, AMPK activates, NAD+ recycling increases, sirtuins respond. When you fast strategically, repair pathways engage, autophagy clears cellular debris. When you sleep deeply, reconstruction accelerates. When you manage stress, cortisol stabilizes. When you maintain muscle, glucose is handled efficiently. Each action reinforces the others. This is systems biology. Longevity is not built from one habit. It is constructed from coherence. Coherence reduces chaos. Chaos accelerates aging. After 50, you cannot afford chaos. You need rhythm, effort and recovery, light and darkness, feeding and fasting, challenge and calm. The drop in NAD+ is real, but so is your capacity to influence it. You are not powerless against time. You are powerful within biology. The goal is not to feel 25 at 75. The goal is to be capable at 85, capable of movement, capable of thought, capable of contribution. NAD+ matters because it fuels the systems that keep you adaptable. Adaptability is youth expressed through resilience. After 50, this molecule declines, but decline is not destiny. It is feedback. Feedback that your biology needs engagement, needs stress, needs recovery, needs discipline. Choose to engage. Choose to demand adaptation. Choose to protect sleep. Choose to lift resistance. Choose metabolic rhythm. Choose coherence. And as years pass, you will not simply accumulate age. You will accumulate strength. Energy will remain available, clarity will persist, resilience will endure, because aging is not just time, it is the balance between damage and repair. And repair is something you can influence. After 50, NAD plus drops, but your capacity to rise does not. The decision is daily, and the future of your lifespan is being written in how you live right now.